Good evening everyone and welcome to Tartan Quarantino, the end-of-year show for HND television students at Edinburgh College's Milton Road campus. Tonight we'll be screening one piece from each of the graduating second-year students. It's been a bit of a year for all of us, I'm sure you'll agree, and our TV students have been no exception. They spent the previous 6 months writing and developing their final dramas. Then, in March, all that effort had to be scrapped. So purely in the spirit of vindictiveness, the staff threw down the gauntlet and challenged the students to write and produce a totally different drama under lockdown restrictions, i.e. no crew or cast other than the people they shared the household with, no equipment other than personal DSLRs or phones, and only using exterior shots where it was safe to do so. And everyone delivered, which, if you ask me, is more than just a little impressive. But it's not just dramas this evening. Several of the students elected to screen their final documentaries, which were produced earlier in the year. These were based on the theme of identity, and the students were asked to creatively and engagingly portray an aspect of the human experience. As you're watching the show, feel free to comment or ask questions of the filmmakers over hereabouts, because afterwards we'll have a wee question and answer session. This will be conducted over Zoom but live streamed on this YouTube channel. After that, we'll ask you to vote for the best film of the night. You can do that down below, but we're only going to keep voting open for about 60 seconds. So pay attention to the name of the film you want to vote for. There won't be a trophy or a prize or anything, but as they say about the Olympics, it's not the taking part that matters, it's the winning. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Jules, Dom, Damien, Mark and Radim for steering the students through their HND. I also want to thank the students themselves for their positive attitude, their hard work, their creativity and their generous tolerance of sarcastic comments. And so, without further ado, take it away, Dom.
What are you doing, Jerry?
Lucy's here. I think tonight's the night.
Good for you, but the safety gear, I mean, it's a bit much, isn't it? Just take that.
Mira, el hombre con la harta escocesa.
¿Quieres sacar una foto?
Sí.
Excuse. Foto, por favor. No problem.
¿Qué piensas que la tengo debajo de la falda?
No te gustaría saber.
Everyone knows why the chicken crossed the road.
What the?
But no one knows how.
What the?
Be safe at night, dress bright to get to the other side.
The world must prepare for a potential pandemic. That's the warning from the head of the World Health Organization. Over the past few hours, fresh cases have been confirmed in countries around the globe. The number of cases worldwide is now more than 80,000 across 36 countries. Our correspondents have the very latest.
It's only been a week and I've already run out of food. And I hate going to the shops at the moment. Don't worry though, I'm taking every precaution when I go out. Actually, it's been quite nice staying at home. I've had more time to do the washing, the gardening, and I've managed to take Fergus out for more walks than he normally gets. It is quiet though without you in the house. I hope you're staying safe, and I can't wait until I can meet my grandbaby.
key to end.
Hi, it's Mum. I haven't heard from you in a few days and I was wondering if you're okay. Call me back.
$248,818 people have tested positive, and that's an increase of 2,412 cases since yesterday. And sadly, of those who've tested positive, 35,341 have now died. And that's an increase of 545 fatalities since yesterday.
Please leave your message after the tone. Press any key to end.
Hi again. Sorry I missed your call. My phone died. You know what I'm like. I was looking through your old baby pictures today, and then I got the photograph of Rosie in the post. Oh, she looks exactly like you when you were that age. I can't wait to see you both next week.
In 2019, the BBC and HBO co-produced a period drama about Anne Lister. She was a 19th century landowner, businessman, diarist and lesbian. The show follows Anne Lister's relationship with Anne Walker, and since it has aired, a community has rapidly grown. We have a very detailed account of her life as she recorded everything in her diary. It's made up of 26 volumes, containing over 5 million words, and 1/6 of that is in code. So Anne Lister lived in a time when lesbian wasn't even a word. She was called Gentleman Jack as a derogative term. Gentleman referred to the manly clothes she wore, and Jack was because she was gay. In 1834, she took the sacrament with Anne Walker, sealing their union. It's believed to be one of the first gay marriages. So Gentleman Jacks really helped with my mental health and anxiety. Before the show started, I don't think I was as vocal. So I joined communities online where I discovered podcasts and people talked about how the show affected them, and I felt really connected to that. So could you guys tell me a little bit about how you met and how the podcast came about?
So I watched episode 1 the day that it came out because it had been an ad before Game of Thrones and it looked super gay, so I had to watch it, obviously, right? That's how it works. I watched it and was immediately so obsessed.
I had to reach out into the internet to try to find people that I could just freaking lose my mind with the show over, because I was worried that like my wife was going to commit me somewhere if I continued just talking to her constantly about it. So I posted on Tumblr.
Then I showed up and I was like, hello, I'm here for this conversation.
Very gay, very ladylike.
It's so nice to see a show that doesn't have a token gay character. The gay plot line isn't just shoved in the background, and it's so small that if it's shown in a foreign country it can be cut like that. The main plot line is these two women loving each other. You see them kiss, you see them having a relationship, and it's just so good for representation that that's not cut out.
I think often these stories about like queer people in the media, they're not realistic because you're not putting queer people in like real life scenarios.
It's truly her life. You can't even argue.
Right.
And some of it is stranger than fiction, right? It's crazier than probably what we would have made up if somebody had tried to fabricate an 1800s lesbian relationship that ended in marriage. Like, it would not have been this.
Wonder why you have such a poor opinion of yourself. I don't when I'm with you. When I'm with you, I could take on the world.
Like, there was a point, and I've talked about it on the podcast, where I thought I was the only person on earth, like, who felt this way. I was like, why? And it mostly because I had no idea that you could be a girl who was interested in women, that I just thought, like, why am I the only person on earth who doesn't like boys? Like, why don't I like boys? What's wrong with me? And there was this whole idea that I couldn't conceptualize of any other reality outside of that. People who are there now, there's all this access to information and incredible stuff like Gentleman Jack that'll validate you and say, look, people have been gay all through history. Like, you're not the first person to pop onto the scene and realize that this was going on for you.
I only got to discover my identity once I became more active online. I didn't grow up in a community where I was surrounded by queer people. It was only when I saw online, and that gave me the confidence to really discover myself. The show has inspired me to learn more about Anne Lister's life. So now I have a ridiculous collection of books on her. More and more of Anne Lister's diaries are getting transcribed, and even though the show is like not on at the moment, we are still getting new content.
We're still learning things and everything is still changing, and I love that because just like you said, other fandoms, it's like the show happens and that's it, right? They made it up. The end, there's all the context you get. You can talk some about it, but that material and your basis of understanding doesn't change. But with Anne, you know, you think you know her, and then something comes up and the code breakers have something else, and they're like, oh, we learned this about Anne.
There's a lot there to uncover, which is really exciting. I think that's something that we're really passionate about too, is like, what are the parts that we don't know about? That's the stuff we want to talk about.
You actually hired a medium to try and speak to Anne Lister.
I think that originated from a joke that we were like looking at our calendars and looking at when the next thing opened up, and it was like near Halloween. And then we were like, too bad we can't talk to Anne. And we were like, what if we can talk to Anne?
Talk to Anne.
I don't know. I feel like I tentatively say I feel like we spoke to the spirit of Anne Lister.
I do too. And I cannot wrap my head around that.
I feel like this is going to be a very opinionated, like you out there as a listener, you're probably either going to leave feeling strongly one way or the other.
Right. My heart is like, yes, and my brain is like, no, skepticism, and my heart is like, no, it was definitely her. It's like a never-ending internal struggle.
Yeah, I don't know, just some of the things that he said specifically, like the pairing my two genders and born this way and things like that. It's like, you can't make that up.
So in April 2020, there's going to be a huge meetup of fans of the show for a weekend of events, panels featuring the show's creators, historians who have spent decades researching Anne Lister, and the podcasts who brought the community together.
The lesbians are coming to Halifax. It's the place to be.
You have to make your lesbian pilgrimage. That's what it is for me.
Yep.
It's definitely a pilgrimage, yeah.
Amanda and I are going to meet for the first time at Shipton, so that will be very cool.
It has to be like at the place. Like she brought us together. We're going to go to her house and meet for the first time at Anne Lister's house.
The amount of engagement and interaction we've had from people has been astounding. Like we've gotten emails and we've obviously gotten, journal entries for our listener episodes and things like that. And we have been told that we have touched people's lives and like that sometimes we are the only space where they can be queer and they look forward to hearing us every couple of weeks. And that I cannot even begin to describe how much that means to Amanda and I. And it's not something that we expected at all. What we're doing matters to people. And like, that is so deeply moving.
Gentleman Jack's an exceptionally well-written period drama. It just so happens the two love interests are women. And I love that.
Behind her back, she's Gentleman Jack, a Yorkshire lady of renown. Ever so fine, won't toe the line, speak her name, gentleman frown. With Shipton all, she had them all, the fairest sex fell under a spell. Dapper and bright, she held them tight, handsome man seduced them well. Gentleman Jack, oh Gentleman Jack.
So what you doing?
Why?
I'm bored.
Well, some of us have school, so piss off. What?
What you doing?
School.
What kind of school?
School work.
What kind of school work?
Drama.
What kind of drama?
Miss Brown, what she got for me? Drama. Write a monologue. It's piss easy.
You're not doing your monologue?
No, I'll do it later. Can't be that hard.
See, that monologue I did yesterday? That monologue was so easy!
How hard can it be, right? That's it. Washed up at 14.
Rick?
Rick? What are you doing?
Crying.
You what?
Crying.
Crying over what?
Stupid monologue.
Stupid muffalob.
Monologue.
Oh. Stupid monologue.
Yeah.
Oh. What's wrong?
Can't write your stupid fucking monologue.
Ah, writer's block. Well, you want to know what I do when I have writer's block?
What?
I make a sandwich.
What?
I make a sandwich. So, what you should do is, you should go make me a sandwich.
That makes no sense.
It makes plenty of sense. You get the satisfaction of making me a sandwich whilst not having to think about the stupid monologue, and I get a sandwich. Both wins. You know, you can't think when I'm hungry.
What is that even meant to mean?
Just go make me a sandwich. Fine, I won't help with your monologue then.
Fine, I'll make you a stupid sandwich. What do you want?
Corned beef, tomato sauce.
Could you pick anything less minging?
Could have jam and tomato sauce.
Fine, I'll go.
Corned beef and tomato sauce. Spit spots, please.
Yeah, fine.
You were going to be such a great sandwich. You were going to help him. He was going to help me. I would have gotten stupid monologue done. And now you're on the floor. Blood and corned beef splattered all over the floor. You were going to be such a great sandwich. You were going to get me the help I needed. You were going to stop hunger for him, and he was going to help me. And then I could forget about this stupid thing. But now you're on the floor. What purpose? What waste? You had a purpose, you had a place, you actually knew what you were to do in this world. You were gonna feed him, he was gonna help me, monologue would have get done, and I could go do something else. But now you're on the floor.
Why? Alas, poor sandwich, I knew him so well.
What's happening? See, I told you to make me a sandwich and help me with your monologue. That's pretty good.
Rabbie Burns is to many the greatest Scots poet ever, with his poem Auld Lang Syne heard all across the world come New Year's.
But would his work be so well known if we didn't know who he was? Would history be different if he had hidden his name? Probably so. So why do so many artists continue to do this, and how do others react to it?
When you see a piece of art or hear some music but you don't know who made it, what's your first reaction?
I normally just like to look up who it is. I want to get to, if I really like something, I'm going to look them up and see what else they've done.
Normally I'll just listen to it, see if I like it. If I like it, then I'll try and find out more. Normally it's more to do with emotion. If I like the song, then I'll listen to it more than something I don't like.
Probably an emotional one, or a visceral one, and then I wonder who did the music or the piece of art.
One such artist who's hidden their identity to great success is the graffiti artist Banksy. Believed to have started their activities in the 90s, Banksy has used their politically charged artwork to show their view on the world around them.
Though they have been successful in hiding their identity, they are not truly anonymous. This is due to people associating the art with the idea of Banksy.
I like Banksy. I think all of his work it's political sometimes, but it's like something that needs to be seen because like people won't listen to words really, it's more like actions, and he's sort of portraying that.
I think it's quite pretentious. I don't like what he's become. I mean, originally when I think some of his like oldest pieces, they actually were a political statement and they did invoke a reaction, like emotional reaction only. But now the stuff he's done most recently, it just feels like stunt work for the sake of having an image and a brand.
It's different. I like the different angles that he takes. I think people sort of slightly miss the point with what he's going for, with how much they evaluate the art. Not that his art isn't valuable, but people just want it just because it's a Banksy rather than seeing it for what it is.
The idea of the anonymous artist is not confined to merely visual mediums.
Many music artists have also chosen to hide their identity, including the French group Daft Punk.
Starting in 1993, Daft Punk have risen to great musical heights, winning many awards and even composing the score for the film Tron Legacy. However, they have still managed to keep their identity secret, along with other such artists, like TWRP and Gorillaz.
Say Daft Punk, what's the first thing you think of?
Probably the iconic image of them with the two sort of helmet things on.
I think of their helmets. I like to think of the time when they were at the Grammys and they had the question marks on their helmets, and I just loved that was their reaction to there was like a surprise award thing.
Nothing.
When I say Daft Punk music, what's the first thing that comes to your head?
It's electronic. I don't know.
Given humans' innate drive to connect to others, how does anonymity affect that connection?
Humans naturally want to know more for fear of missing out on something. This may cause us to continue looking or listening to those with hidden identities.
What these artists allow us to do is place whatever we can instead of them. We can place any number of traits into these artists to try and explain who they are. This can also help us understand the art itself.
Though we don't know their real identities, the artwork of these people can give us a glimpse into it, whether that be a politically minded vandal or just two men not looking for fame and fortune. The art is more important than the name.
Rate to half. It's taking just 10 days in the southeast and roughly 4 in London. Now, some scientists think that this margin of error, when you break it down regionally, is high, but it could still provide an argument that lockdown should be eased at different times in different regions. However, that looks a little unlikely when you drill down to
No, a tester. No, not that. The opposite, actually. No, I'm not sick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. Yeah, say that one more time. again for me, please? I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying. Can I speak to a supervisor, please? Yeah, I can hold. Thank you. Hi, am I speaking to the supervisor?
Speaking.
I was wanting to offer my employment.
Are you sick?
No, I'm not sick.
You do not meet the criteria.
Really? I mean, I can learn. Hello?
Stand by for testing. Employment denied.
But why?
You were deemed irresponsible. Employment accepted.
Andy.
My name is Andrew Kearney. I am 40 years of age and I have been training for strength-related sports for 24 years, and I've been competing in strongman and powerlifting since 2004. Initially, my kind of entry into competitive sports was strongman, but later on in my career I have focused more on powerlifting due to a very serious injury which ended my strongman career about 10 years ago. Out with the gym, most people in the industry, any of the kind of sports industries will tell you that it's 70% diet. The most important thing that I do outside the gym is recover from my workouts. Now, we need high quality nutrients and we also need a good night's sleep. And it's because I'm getting older, things like deep tissue massage, physiotherapy, hot and cold treatments are more and more important because my ability to recover is reducing as unfortunately I get older. I used to consume a ridiculous amount of calories. I was actually sponsored by Weetabix at one point because I consumed 60 Weetabix a day. My calorific intake was almost 10,000 calories a day. As I've got older and my metabolic rate has slowed down, I've changed my diet to a very unique diet called the carb backload diet, and my overall calories are less than half that. But it's more about nowadays is when I consume my carbohydrates. People were really concerned about that. They said, when you've dropped all this body weight, you must have lost strength. But I didn't. I actually got stronger for two different reasons. One, because I was carrying less weight, my physical fitness improved. Therefore, I could recover better between sets. So my workouts actually elevated in intensity. And the body weight I dropped was predominantly body fat anyway. So not only did I drop all this extra unnecessary body weight, but I actually did get stronger and physically fitter. Anabolic steroids are predominant in all sports. The majority of the average person thinks that they're only used by cheaters, but once you're in that social circle, you realise that they're quite predominant. Golfers have openly used steroids, rugby players. I personally feel that someone should maximise their natural potential before they get anywhere near anabolic steroids. But if you are competing for a gold medal for your nation and you know that everyone around you is using these as an advantage, it's very difficult for you to turn and say, I will not use them. The sport's been good to me, but at the same time, the sport is particularly brutal. I've had some horrendous injuries. In 2010 at the Arnold Classic, I blew both my knees off. I was lying on the floor trying to find my kneecaps. I was rushed to the Grant Medical Centre and they told me that there was a good chance I might never walk again. And when I woke up from that surgery, I had 90 staples in each knee and I couldn't walk. I was in a bed in America with no one, alone, and I didn't know how I was going to get home. I didn't know if I was ever going to walk again. And the first thing I done when I woke up was I said, see that person that told me I'm never going to lift again, I'm going to show you. When I got home and I got to the point where I was still doing physiotherapy in the Western Infirmary in Glasgow, 3 times a week I was doing lower leg group with these old OAP women who were recovering from hip replacements, stepping on a Reebok stepping back, and I sneaked away to Wales over the weekend and I deadlifted 320 kilo and I bench pressed 250 kilo. I won the British record breakers. As I say, the sport's tough. I've detached my calf muscle clean off the bone. I've torn my hamstrings about 17 times, I've torn biceps, I've torn pecs. When you get knocks like that, sometimes it's difficult to focus on why you want to get back and do it. One of the scariest things I ever done was when I started back squatting, the first few competitions, every time I unracked a bar with significant weight on the platform, I had to say to myself, this squat, as you go down, you might never come back up from. One of the secondary reasons when I initially wanted to open the gym was I felt I'd got to the stage in my career where I wanted to pass on the information. I take great pleasure in stopping people making the same mistakes that I've made. I've won 7 world titles now, I think 9 European titles. I've kind of almost ticked all my bucket list, so I'm craving, you know, the gratification elsewhere. And I get great pleasure from taking someone from literally never stepping foot in the gym to see them represent Team Great Britain and perhaps even as much as podium and go away with world medals, European medals. My biggest motivation initially was my mother. I grew up with no father in a really, really rough, poor housing estate. And I was my mum's blue-eyed boy, so my initial motivation from the moment I was born up until I became a father was my mother. When I graduated from uni, it was for my mum. Any time I won anything, it was to make my mum proud. But the minute my daughter became born, my mum all of a sudden wasn't important any more than that capacity. And it's all about building a legacy now for my daughter. I want my daughter, when I'm old and grey and perhaps no longer with her, to say that was my father. My father done stuff that people say they couldn't do. My father achieved everything he wanted to do. I wanted to see that she can do what she can if she takes the right approach, and I wanted to be proud of her father, and I want to be an inspiration for my daughter, and perhaps even as much as her daughter or her son that follows.
We all identify with fictional characters, but I identify with the villain. But why do I do this? And should I be worried about it?
I think it depends a lot on the person you are. Like, how I would identify with a fictional character is probably different than how you, because we're two different people. I think it's a lot to do with personality. It's how we relate to them on a personal level, and it can be based on, you know, personal experiences. So someone might identify with a fictional character in a film or a book who's had a rough upbringing because they've had a rough upbringing, or identify with someone who's had a rags to riches story because that's similar to their life.
To help me figure out why, I'm going to look into the character of Grant Ward to find out why I identify with the villain. When we first meet Ward, we see him as a man who only works alone. He never works with anyone else. However, throughout the show, we see him start to develop to be able to work with a crew. A big factor in Ward becoming a villain was his childhood, where he was tortured by his brother, or so we believed.
Not yet, Grant.
Help me! But he's gonna...
Not yet. Throw him the rope, and I'll throw you in there, too.
Throughout the show, Ward uses anger as an escape, not only because he's angry, but he feels too much emotion to express any other. In the show, Ward's character allowed me to understand the feelings and memories I have throughout my childhood. As a child, coming from a large family, I had to compete for attention and compete to be seen. I always struggled with this, as I didn't know how to make myself heard. I struggled at school and at home and never really understood why, so I distanced myself from my family and suppressed how I was feeling, suppressing what really mattered, me, and understanding why I felt this way. This caused me to find a way to escape. Mine being film and television, finding out later that my brain worked differently, and that was okay. Dyslexia was nothing to hide. In 2015, my own plot twist occurred when my dad's heart began to fail, causing him to need a pacemaker, or he would become seriously ill. During this time, I needed a way to escape. I focused this through photography, and it would go on to be my favourite place to mess about with a camera and to keep my mind off of what was going on. However, the plot in my story continues to thicken. In 2017, as due to my dad's heart condition, me and my family went homeless. I continued to power through, not showing my emotions and putting all my energy into working hard to get to college and to study what I loved, and had always been my escape through the hard times and my childhood. I mean, overall, after everything that happened, when I look at this character, at the beginning I identified with him on the basis that he had a troubled life. He went through tough situations and never showed that he struggled. The only emotion this man would show in his time was anger. And at the beginning, yeah, that's how I felt. But in the end, I think I just realised, maybe now I don't identify with the character, but more sympathise with him, on the basis that I know what it's like to go through that situation.
Eyes are closed, nobody cares about what's going on. You know what's right, but just do the wrong. Ignore reality for temporary fun. Oh, no. Do you feel the atmosphere of fear? Are you too caught up in that you can hear the sound of the future crying? The sound of the future dying. They call me crazy cause they don't see what I see. You say the surface clean, you ain't been beneath. You say you know it all, to find you must seek. It's easier to tell a lie than live a lie. Just open up your eyes are closed, nobody cares about what's going on. You know what's right, but just do the wrong. Ignore reality
preying on us, hating on us, I bet they want us. Starting something new, watch and follow us, making wonders, making numbers, but they all the same, like a bunch of grains of rice. Up to nothing nice, that's what I despise. Always full of lies, what a surprise.
Eyes are closed, nobody cares about what's going on. You know what's right, but just do the wrong. Ignore reality for temporary fun. Oh, no.
Whoa, jumping to conclusions you don't know. Gave you all we had and you want more. Should've never let you through the door. You made yourself at home.
Hope slipping through fingers like sand. So many promises made on quicksand. None of your business, cause you're busy denying your mess. You've got money you don't deserve. Wanna rule but don't wanna serve. You're talking about peace but you hate the truth. Talking about love but it's far from you. Spit it, bro.
Everybody wanna see it change. When they got you blind, they don't seem to understand. Islamic seem black and white, but truth or lies, they don't go hand in hand. I don't second guess, I just roll the dice. Grinding every day and night, till my wrist is full of ice. Taking notes and moving wise. Jumping to conclusions you don't know. Gave you all we had and you want more. Should've never let you through the door. You made yourself out.
Eyes are closed, nobody cares about what's going on. You know what's right, but just do the wrong. Ignore reality for temporary fun. Oh, no.
Hello, my name's Catherine McGowan and I am the future women's middleweight champion of the world. There's so much that brought me into actually pursuing it as a future for myself, you know. I suppose it starts a long time ago. I used to do taekwondo when I was really little, up until I was like 14 or 15. I became sort of disinterested with it around my teenage years, just because it was too structured for me. It didn't feel real. It felt like I was in dancing lessons more than fighting lessons, and I wanted to learn how to defend myself. When I turned 18, when I started boxing, I think it was important for me that I found it naturally, and I did. You know, it was just I went up with a group of people, you know, just to try it out, you know, part of college, and it just clicked, you know, and it felt like I discovered it on my own, and I think that made it the more special to me. It just made so much more sense. Like it was more martial combat sport being taught to me in a way that it was new and it was exciting and it was more independent. It wasn't me standing in a line of a bunch of other people standing in a big grid. It was personal, and I was left to punch my way, and you know, while I was doing it right, as long as I was doing it right, I should say, then I was doing it right, and I was left to improve with myself. And obviously, you know, you get helped by the boxers that are there and the older guys who train us, but at the end of it, when I go into a boxing gym, it's down to me, and I know that my focus can just be on me, and I don't have to worry about being exactly the same as anybody else. You can see documented through time and between fighters at different weights, different boxing techniques and everything, and different styles, boxer to boxer. There's a lot there, and it's very varied. Elephant in the room for anybody watching, I suppose, that doesn't know who I am. I'm transgender. I'm a transgender female, born male, now a woman. For me, as a transgender woman, it is a scary concept to think that it will be up to my hormone levels and up to, you know, the judgment of others whether or not I will be suitable to compete against other women in the future when I'm further down in the future, when I am competing professionally. My big hopes for the future, you know, I want to compete in the Olympics. 2024 Paris Summer Games are my big focus, I suppose. In terms of me competing as a woman, it does pose, you know, a sticky issue, and so I spar against men currently. I've got no problem with that. They've got no problem with that. You know, those who know my situation, never had any issue in the gym. No one's ever really raised it as a concern. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'll fight anybody who wants to fight me. I would be happy to compete against any man who wanted to compete against me, and that is the same now as it will be forever. As long as everybody is the same weight in the ring, and as long as everybody consents to a match, the issue of mixed gender combat sports shouldn't be an issue. There's people like Chris Cyborg and other transgender athletes who compete in martial combat sports. You know, Chris Cyborg is, of course, an incredible mixed martial arts athlete and a big inspiration of mine. I look up to her every day, and I just like to think, you know, if she can do it, then so can I, right? I'm me regardless, and I'm always going to be feminine, because is femininity not the measure of a woman? I'm a woman, I'm comfortable in that knowledge. There's nothing to sway me on that, so why should I aspire to be any different from the person I am? And the person I am fucking loves to get busy and stay active and be muscular, because I do. Physical fitness is a huge confidence booster for me, and training and getting into it and taking boxing on in the way that I have, becoming as physically fit as I have in such a short period of time is huge in terms of my own confidence, and I think a lot of people could stand to benefit from doing the same thing. I'll always advocate that getting up and moving is the best way to combat any sort of negative mental issues, at least for the short term. Like spending a bunch of energy and going crazy, going to the gym, lifting weights, going for a run, boxing, kicking, whatever. It's great for the head, and it's great to let that steam off, and I think people need to let that steam off, and I needed to let that steam off for a long time, and I'm glad I have, because it's helped a lot. I think the idea of the superstar athlete is this, it's a very culturally significant sort of symbol. In our culture, in Western culture, we have a fascination about celebrity status and the amassing of like a lot of wealth and being associated with power in such a close relationship. I'd be a liar if I said that idea of superstardom and of celebrity status as an athlete didn't appeal to me, especially in the beginning, and especially the idea that I could be this powerful, maybe even, you know, cultural figure, and be a transgender woman doing that to reach the status that so many other boxers have and so many other aspiring boxers strive for. It's the dream. It's wanting to make something of yourself, wanting to prove yourself and compete to get that recognition that you can be the best at something. And I think that's what everybody strives for, and I think that's what I strive for. I want to prove to myself and to everyone who has put their confidence in me that I can be the best, and I don't want to let myself down, because I believe that I can be. You need to be hungry for it. I think that hunger for self-improvement and to prove yourself despite your situation, your upbringing or your surroundings, the hunger to dream for more, and then to put yourself in that gym, put those gloves on and commit to it for years and years, to have the drive to get up every morning, wash your face, and still say, this is what I want to do and I can do it. There's a drive to boxers, a spark in people's eye that I see in the gym every single day. People who have been working so hard for so long for a chance to prove to everybody that they are the best. It's beautiful, and that's why I'm boxing.
Hey Mum, just returning your call. Yeah, you were right. The night shift isn't for me. That's me just getting home now and I'm bloody exhausted. I'll see you when you get home. Bye.
Yeah.
Breaking news. Police are looking for a highly dangerous burglar in the Barton area of Edinburgh. The police have stated that everyone should keep all doors and windows locked and be vigilant.
Night.
Come on, Benji. Come on. Come on.
No, back off.
Benji. Oh, come on. Benji? Benji? Benji?
Benji. Benji.
Benji? Benji? Benji?
When I was younger, I was all skinhead and punk, and when graffiti came to here, it was just like all of a sudden, before everything was black and white, and then when graffiti arrived, everything was multicoloured. It was like a much more colourful, interesting world. That's kind of what attracted me to it. It was a bit, I suppose, a rebellious thing, you know, just going out and painting illegally, you know, because there was nothing like this. There was no legal walls or anything like that. You just had to go out and find a place to paint and do it. Sometimes for me, like I still like finding an abandoned place and painting there. But if it's an interesting place, then that will maybe drive what I'm going to paint. I'm quite led by. Sometimes I'll do something that's quite graphic and things like that. Other times I'll do things that are quite sort of like all of the shot, quite abstracted. A lot of it kind of the process of where I come from is different for each one. I'm not like a lot of people who have the same sort of style that they do all the time. I'm kind of not like that because my influences are different as well. Like graffiti made me an artist, but through starting to do graffiti, I studied illustration, I studied design, I studied photography. I learned a lot of different skills. Like I learned how to take photos from taking photos in really dodgy, really dark places. So it made me become a good photographer because I had to work to take photos of the work I created. So to say how you start a design, sometimes it's just I just look at a blank wall and I can come up with a design in your head. Kind of one of these people it's constantly coming out in my head. You know, if you give me a piece of paper, I'll just sit and doodle for ages and just it'll come out from that. Sometimes I've got a really clear idea, sometimes I have no idea when I start. Most people would, however, start with a sketch, so it's usually based around your name, so whatever tag you've got, and the design comes around that. A lot of people, you have a set of rules that they'll work to, so the letters might be symmetrical, they'll balance on both sides. So usually you start off with your sketch, so you rough your sketch, then you go to the wall, start working on it like that. Some people just paint straight on the wall, so it's different for everybody. There's a clear difference between what people consider street art and what people consider graffiti. The people just generally dismiss out of hand. Like when we organised this big ball along here, it's the biggest in the UK. Everybody was outraged for because people's perception of this is a tag, you know, a thing like that. It was quite funny when we did that wall. There was a woman came along afterwards. We got 100 artists out to paint it, and we painted it. And she came along to take photos before all the taggers turned up to wreck it. And I don't know because she'd read on the internet that there was going to be hundreds of people coming down to deface the wall. And I don't know, these are the people you read about, they're the ones. So she came down to take photos because she thought it was going to get defaced by all these tags, and I got, no, what we were talking about is these. And obviously people don't like tags, but without a tag you don't have what you have now. All of that came from a tag. It came from some kid scrawling their name. That's the core of all of that comes from that. So you can't have graffiti and all the beautiful paintings if you didn't have tags to begin with. So it's still kind of part of it. It's the way people sort of like identify that they're there.
Another day, no change. Still alone. Food dish on the right, water dish on the left, tunnel at the back. This again. God, I wish I could be outside. I'm not staying here. I won't be alone anymore. I'm getting out of here. So far, so good.
Addie, Addie, come here. Come on, girl. Come on. Maddie. Oh, wait, where's Sandy? Is that rope ladder? What the hell's going on here? This is so weird. Where's Sandy? There you are. Thank God I found you. Right, come on, back you go. Jesus, one thing at a time here. Maddie!
Well, this is something. I've come too far, whatever it takes. So close, just a little bit further. You again. I made it. I'm outside. But where is... I fear I will be found soon.
I just know that no matter where I am, I will always love you. Yours, Lenny. Lenny, 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 Lenny. I will find you no matter how long it takes. I've got a pretty long lifespan.
In a non-Christian household was a loving household. I have 3 siblings and I lived with my 2 parents. It was a loving household, but it was very, very stressful. My mum had cancer 3 times. My father had a very stressful job. My older brother was very laid back, and he just didn't want to take part of anything which stressed out my mum and dad naturally. My sister had severe depression, and she tried to kill herself a couple of times. And my twin brother got round the police every 2 minutes. So it was fairly stressful, but it was a loving household.
It was like being brought up in a Christian household. I don't know any different. It was very alien to me for other children, to see them like grow up and stuff. And with not being in a Christian home, my father was ordained when I was 1. And so I've always been brought up knowing that Jesus loved me and being told that every day. All my parents' values are linked with the Bible, so I knew literally nothing different, but that came with some challenges because my dad is and was such a pillar in the community. Everybody knew him, so I couldn't go anywhere. I still can't go anywhere without anybody knowing who I am or knowing who my dad is. But my mum, whenever I would be upset, crying over my weight or crying over the fact I didn't have many friends, Mum would remind me that my worth is found with Jesus and that my worth was not found in materialistic things, and that other people's opinions were not that important, actually. They weren't. The most important thing was that Jesus loved me and that he made me beautiful. I learned how to stand up for myself. I had to study more of the Bible because people would come at me with questions and I couldn't necessarily answer them. But I could say in confidence that I will come back to you and I will see if I can find the answer.
To have a faith, it is literally either the dumbest thing ever or the most important thing. And there is no in between. And to have a faith means that you are put on this planet for a reason. You are important, you are significant, and that you have a purpose, that the creator of the universe literally looks at you and I put you on this planet for a reason because I love you and you're going to do great things.
To have a faith is part of my very being. I cannot, sometimes it mind boggles me to think. I think of my life if I wasn't a Christian. And it almost makes me cry. Where's the hope? Where's the hope? Where's the joy? What's the point? It is my life. It is my life. And I would not want to live it without it. My purpose is to love God, to love myself, and to love others. And that is my purpose. And not only does that bring me joy, that brings other people joy, and it brings God joy.
There was a point that I decided to follow God. So I came to church. I was coming to church not regularly, but I was coming quite often. Like, there was always something there that was keeping me going. And I suppose I didn't quite understand what that was, but there was always like something in my heart about the community of the church. Not the actual building, but the community. There was something about just being with them that like kept me going, and like I didn't understand that at the time. The point that I actually decided to fully commit myself to God was staging Slam 2016. It was quite insightful hearing Jesus in such a new light, and it wasn't like, oh, if you don't believe in God then you're going to hell, and it wasn't like that at all. We got asked to just sit in solitude and pray. So I prayed and I was like, It was just a kind of moment that all the walls that I had built up, everything, all the bottling up emotions smashed, and I was like a tsunami of tears. And I was like, maybe there is something to this. Like maybe this Jesus thing is for me as well. It's like a personal thing. And so in 2016, I decided that I could be with these people and still be who I am. I could be with these people with the emotion that I bring. I committed myself to God, and here I am.
I always, from like a very young age, I always had a pretty solid faith. Jesus was no stranger to me. I felt like I did live it out when I was in primary school, because it's not like I put a t-shirt on that says I'm a Christian, you know, like it's part of me, you know, it's who I am. When I was 12, 13, my mum was like, Kez, there's this thing that Ross is putting on, our youth minister, called Stage and Slam. I think you'll enjoy it. And I was like, are you sure? Like 30 Americans who came over and volunteered. There was so many activities. There was tie-dye, there was American football, there was just like this huge array of different things to do. And it was so cool. And I got to meet kids who wanted to know Jesus. Jesus shows us the perfect way to love others, the perfect way. The Bible can be described as the greatest love story of all time. And oh my goodness, it could not be more true.
Being a football fan is a special feeling. Whether you're young, old, male, female, regular fan, casual fan, or a die-hard fan, there's nothing better.
I became a Hearts fan the same way I think every fan becomes a fan, with the dad. So it must have been about eight or so going to my first game, walking up through the Wheatfield stand, seeing the pitch, and then that was it. I was in love.
Some memories fans have got are amazingly high, and others are heartbreakingly low.
Beating Hibs 5-1 in the cup final was obviously a dream come true for them, and just, you know, everything come true at once type thing for the supporters.
Most favourite moment would probably have to be the 5-1 Scottish Cup final against Hibs. The least favourite probably joint between the administration we had, the relegation, and now, to be honest.
Going to games make any fan happy. Watching your team fight for 90 minutes is a blessing. For most fans, that's what it is.
They can be a mixed bag depending on the opponents. Overall, it's a positive experience with the chants, the singing, just being like part of one community.
The greatest crowd, certainly since I've been covering Hearts, was against Barcelona at Murrayfield, 57,000 odd, if memory serves me right, for a friendly. You know, okay, it was Barcelona, so the appeal was huge, but to get 57,000 people in the stadium for a pre-season friendly was remarkable. I always remember one guy who turned up on a pre-season tour in Austria in 2006, and he lived in Germany, so he drove from Germany to Austria, so he's driven about 3 hours, and he was only a Hearts fan in this tiny ground, and he's standing up the back of beside where we were sitting, beside the kind of press area, and he's in the back row, and he's shouting and bawling, singing all his Hearts songs, you know, and he just didn't care. He was the only guy singing these songs and jumping up and down like a maniac.
The administration was a really bad time as a fan, basically.
They fell into administration basically due to financial mismanagement. They had debts of almost £30 million.
We had an owner called Lemmon who basically kind of ran the club into the ground with his magic money tree that didn't exist.
They owed to companies in Lithuania that were defunct and had gone bust themselves, but they owned the shares, so the whole thing was just a complete mess, and that's why they needed to get a proper, you know, administration company in to try and restructure Hearts and prevent them from going out of business.
But for a lot of fans, that was really troublesome, because what happened to Rangers, we thought that we could potentially be next.
That took a full year between the administration starting and finishing. It took a lot
obviously a lot of money and a lot of haggling and negotiating to get them out of administration, but they managed to do it, and the fans rallied, you know, just as a group, and all the different ways that they started raising funds just to try and keep their club alive.
Me and my dad did it just under the one name, so every month I'd like transfer money, he'd put that money into the spending pot for the club sort of thing.
You know, you had little kids taking money out their piggy banks, taking it along to the stadium to give to the club. You had fans organising rallies and trying to sell different bits of memorabilia and anything that they could to try and sell. And then on top of that, you know, the big one is Foundation of Hearts.
To thank the fans that helped them in their darkest hour.
And then we eventually got the strips with all the names on them.
The fans do have big hearts.
Hi, this is Thomas. Leave a message after the beep.
It's me. Look, things have been rough lately. You're always so distant now. I was thinking it might be a good idea for us to take a break from seeing each other for a while. Terry invited me to his place and he says I can stay a couple of days. So that's where I'll be.
Who the fuck are you? I've been kidnapped.
I didn't kidnap you. I found you in the field. I thought I'd help you out and bring you in.
My name's Mickey. Mickey Spillane. You know, calls me Mick though.
Look, Mickey, Mick, let's have a cup of tea and you know, we can sit there and have a chat.
Right, I'm going to put the gun down, alright? You're going to come in. Don't make any sudden movements, pal. Alright, blow your heat off by mistake. We don't want that.
So how did you end up in that field?
Let's just say I won 2 men at the local, mate. Get what I mean? Didn't you figure out enough in this shite hole though? Nice looking bird.
Yeah, that's my ex-girlfriend. She's you know, she left me that the other day.
Aye.
She ran off with some other guy. No big deal. Guy called Terry. Southern. Terry Southern.
Terry Southern? I ken this one. He's got something that belongs to me.
What, you know him?
Right, Dom, I've got a plan. I'm going to go to this Terry's house, get him sorted out.
Have you seen this guy? He's the size of a house, and he could batter both of us easily.
Guy's a shite bag. Now I'm not putting up with this shite, man, right? He's got your bud and he's got my belongings, right? We're going to go around and pay him a visit, alright? Me and you together. I'll take your car, come on.
This is a bad idea.
Straight up here, Dom.
What's the plan again?
I'm going in there. I'm going to speak it to this Terry Southern. I'm going to get your bud back. I'm going to get my belongings too. Don't you worry, mate. I'll be in and out in 5 minutes. Just keep her rolling. We'll get out of here swiftly.
Okay, I'm waiting 5 minutes and that's it.
Straight back to yours when we're out, alright? Me riding shotgun, your board in the back seat, my belongings sitting on my lap. Everyone's a winner. Fucking go, Tomo, fucking go.
What the hell was that? Oh my god.
Bring it down a wee bit, Tom, alright? Look, your bud wasn't even in there, right? I didn't even see her, right? She wasn't there.
He shot the place up, man.
Look, mate. Fucking calm down, alright? Nobody seen us coming or going. Why? We got out clean. The perfect crime time.
I should have left you in that field, you know that.
You know what you are? Fucking beautiful, Tom, that's what you are. Perfect getaway. Fucking lovely.
What the hell is in that suitcase? It's making a weird noise.
Look, Tom, I wouldn't worry too much about that. We'll stay here, lie low. Get a couple of berries on the go, eh?
Right. Okay.
tell you what, darling. I'm not joking with that, alright? Fucking love you, baby. Cheers. Well, whenever you're okay with your house, alright? I'll be back in a minute, but you just stay put, alright, Tom? Mickey. Side properly, eh? Get in here, didn't you? Good morning, Tom. How are you doing? Aye, that was some state you're in last night, eh? Yeah, feeling I've had better days. When I found you in the field, you had this in your hand. That's my lucky card. I was wondering where I got it. Tell you what, Thomas. I think you should keep it. No, I can't accept that. No, you should keep all of that. Brings you good luck, that card. Thank you. Judging by the Nicky, I thought I could use some good luck. So what will you do now? I'll probably just find someone else, don't I?
First experience I had with Marvel was when I was 6 years old. I was at the dentist, and on the table was an issue from 1977 of Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, issue number 1. I read that, went home, immediately got on to my mum about getting Marvel subscriptions. I remember the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy the most because that was my Sunday viewing. Woke up, watched that, and that was before the third one came out, so it was the golden age. And then I would watch that, and then I would read some of the comics, and it gave me a chance to escape because I could just focus on the comic or the movie, see something better than the normal life that you live. It's kind of just like a fantasy world that you can place yourself in. Sam Raimi 1, That was the first ever comic book movie I watched. So, like, that really affected how I see Marvel. So, Spider-Man is my favourite comic book character, or hero. And then, because of his universe in the comics and stuff like that, they've branched off and they've got so many more characters, villains, you know, anti-heroes, other heroes that are from different universes and stuff. If you read a Spider-Man and, you know, you see just a nerdy kid going through high school or going through college or struggling to pay bills, it's somewhat, you can resonate with it because you could put your face into the mask. Probably watching Netflix's Punisher, mainly because it's the one I think of first. Because like there's many comics and past movies that I've watched, and then I noticed tropes in myself that other characters have had, and stuff like that. But with the Netflix Punisher series, it's, you know, there's a lot of things in it that I see going on outside, and it's, you know, it's led to taking an interest in somewhat of the law. After high school, like, I mean, you didn't talk for like 2 years, give or take a few months and shit like that. But like, what really kicked up the friendship again, and not that we ever lost it, but we just lost touch, was Marvel, because we were talking about, I think it was Deadpool 2 in the cinema, and we were thinking about going to it, and then we were talking about Infinity War, and then, you know, Endgame, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man. From that one instance of, do you want to go to the cinema to watch this new Marvel movie, it then kicked up, you know, a branch of talking on a daily basis.
Hey baby, wish you were with me on this company retreat. Hope you're managing to get your projects done and you're not sleeping all day. We travelled to an old medieval monastery and met a really old sweet man. I told him about you and he gave me something as a good luck token. Meet Reginald. Oh, God. All you have to do is tell him he has permission to be here, and your fortunes will change. Don't frown. Give it a go for me. Love you loads, and can't wait to see you when I get back. Love, Jenna. Well, welcome to the family. You're welcome in this house, Reginald. It's just you and me for the weekend. Why am I talking to a doll, for God's sake? Jesus. Hey, baby. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I know, I didn't forget to feed the rodents. Yeah, all 50 of them. Yeah, I can see them. They're all sitting in their little Shawshank Redemption row. Oh, by the way, thank you for the creepy Wicker Man doll. That was a really nice gift. I can feel my luck changing already. What? What do you mean you didn't send it? Yeah, the fairies sent it, didn't they? If they didn't send it, then... Look, I gotta call you back. Something's not right.
Hey baby, I'm home. Did you have a good weekend with the rodents? What's the matter? Did work send you to the valley or something?
You're watching Talks of Interest.
Throughout my life, my interests have always been very important to me, and over the years they've changed a lot. Some things have always remained constant, such as games and movies. These have been a particular interest to me because of the way they can tell intricate stories and have in-depth characters, and how they've also sort of taught me my morals, at least in some regards. Another one of my constant interests is television, with a particular focus on animation, as this has always been a fascinating subject to me, and books have also had a similar impact on helping me bring out my imagination and inspiring me to be more creative, which is one of the reasons I also like to draw so much. These have all played a huge part in establishing my identity, at least on the creative side, and helped me grow as a person. My interest in the history of the world has had an impact on my interest, leading me to other interests such as steam engines and how they work, how they contribute to history, and the overall design and watching them in action. This interest in history in general has been brought about from being taken to museums and places of historical value at a young age, which I still continue to go to as an adult. I always enjoy learning something about the world, even if it is ancient history. These interests are what I feel have shaped me into the person I am today. But enough about me. Let's talk to some other people and about their interests and how they feel that has had an impact on them as a person and their identity.
I'd say that my interests can include mostly of gaming and the gym. I also enjoy building PCs and probably cooking somewhat.
So I've got many interests obviously, but none of them come quite close to movies. Just like watching movies and getting some insight into, films and the filmmaking world, as they say.
I think the impact that my interests have had on me is, for example, cooking was brought about from my interest in the gym, because I was interested in better nutrition and gaining weight overall. So wanting to know what I could add to my diet that would make me gain weight. And generally I think your interests just kind of dictate what friends you eventually kind of make and what jobs that you end up looking for.
I would say I've always loved movies. I was a really hyper kid, and the only way you could get me to relax was to just sit me down in front of a film, which was probably more beneficial to my mum and dad than it was for me, because they were like, thank God, sit him down and get him to shut up. But yeah, so it's just carried through.
It's difficult to say which one's the most important. It has to be between probably the gym and gaming, because the gaming I've been doing since I was 3 or 4 years old, and the gym is more of one that's changed me more physically and taught me about my discipline and my willingness to learn and improve myself. And also they're kind of two stark interests kind of collide in each other, and it's made me learn kind of that I can be both at the same time.
I would say it's funny, yeah. Like when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna wear fucking like movie t-shirts and have everything movie related and really push out the image that I'm the movie person. And I did get that image in high school of movie person. Ah, movies came out, what did they think, blah, blah, blah. But nah, I would rather it didn't define me per se. You know what I mean? I'm not just the movie person.
Talking with people about their interests is always a great way of getting to know them, as it can give you a better understanding of the individual and how they have become the person they are today. Because I feel you never truly know someone until you've found out what makes them. Perhaps you can use this as a moment to really reflect on what has influenced you to become the person you are today, and perhaps give you more to talk about when you're out and about or down the pub.
I've gotten a lot of kind of things with people coming up and asking me to touch my hair. A lot of people going up to me like, "Aye mate, can I touch your hair? Your hair looks really cool, man. Aye, like all curly and that. Is that like natural and stuff?" I'm like, "Aye mate, it's just like this. Like I don't like use like curlers and stuff. No man, it's just how it is, man."
Like my brother who does have a bit of an afro, like his hair grows like that. People touch his hair. And I had to teach him, like, no, you don't let people touch your hair. Like, that's part of you and your culture and who you are. People are like, oh my God, like your hair, it's so like fluffy or whatever. It's been very much on me to teach him about our culture because my mum is white. She doesn't understand it the same way, obviously.
I was in a situation where because you've not got anybody else that's like you, there's no one there to tell you it shouldn't be like this. You shouldn't allow people to, you know, come over and to touch it and to play with it and to get excited about it, because I think that's what people would get really like, oh my goodness. And you do become aware. And the thing is, I think what's dangerous is you're not aware at the time, but it's years later when you look back and you see it and it's not nice, it's not cool.
Coming into high school, when I did start to grow my hair out a little bit more, especially when I first moved up, like I had an afro, I was still quite, you know, enthusiastic about my hair, and so were all these other people, and I had these people who suddenly wanted to touch my hair, and I let them. And because I started letting them, by the time it got around to the point where I started to feel a wee bit like, well, this is a bit invasive, like all these people are touching my hair, and I'm not so comfortable about this. I found it kind of difficult to get them to stop. Like,
yeah, I was going to say,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember quite vividly being in class and someone would touch my hair and was like speaking to me about it and asked if they could cut some of it off. It must have been like Spanish or it was like a languages class, and it was the guys sitting behind me, and we were doing some sort of crafts thing, and they were like touching my hair and stuff, and we were speaking, and they were like, "Can I have some?" I was like, "What? Like some of your hair? Like I want to take some." And I was like, "No, maybe not."
One of those things, this was maybe in the 90s, and I was modelling for hairdressers. Walked past, I got very excited when I walked past, somebody come running out and, you know, "You've got afro hair, can we touch it?" kind of thing, but to play with it, take some pictures. And when I was getting it cut, one of the hairstylists asks if they could take some of my hair back to Ireland in a little bag, because there was no afro hair. She had never actually experienced
like a little specimen.
A little specimen of afro hair. And at the time I remember thinking, yeah, awesome, that's pretty cool. Of course you can take my hair. But that's
weird.
Yeah, really weird.
Really weird.
So a lot of the time I get like, "Oh, you're like really exotic. Like, what are you? People think like I'm Moroccan, maybe I'm like Middle Eastern somewhere, Spanish, like Spain Spanish.
I've gotten so many different comments, like where I'm from, like people thinking I'm Indian, people thinking I'm like Mexican, like Pakistani or something like that. But because of my like curly ass hair, it tends to distinguish me more as being half African American, or not African, whatever, Scottish.
A lot of people assume that when I say I'm Dominican, they just think, oh, Latin American. Yeah, a lot of people look at me and they don't see straight away like African descent or black. And I kind of just go by, yeah, like I'm mixed race. When you're just with your white mum, but you know there's more to you than just that side of you, it's hard to try and understand it without being in contact with the other side of you.
Because I'm mixed, I'm half black, I would still say in a lot of the senses that doesn't mean I'm any less black. Because I still have like relatives, and it not just being like a kind of far relative, but being like my dad, my father, who is black and from the Caribbean. Well, personally, I think that it still connects you to the rest of the black community fully. I would just say I'm black, personally.
It took me 35 years to realise that my hair was my identity. This mane is a blessing, and it's something I am so proud of, because not everybody's got this. And I love when people look at my hair and I can look at them and say, yeah, you can't do this. Yeah, sorry, you can't do this.
Having to define yourself and put yourself in a box or under a label, it's just not something you want to do. It's not nice to try and have to prove yourself. Why should you have to prove to anyone why you're of any ethnicity?
It's all just Afro hair, you know? And I think no matter what, like if you're quarter black, half black, fully black, like that's it, you got Afro hair, you know?
Let your thoughts just drift on by. On the count of 3, I want you to open your eyes. 1, 2, 3.
I'd rather not see the outside again than never swim like my mum was only.
The official number of deaths in the UK linked to coronavirus is more than 12,000, but it's important.
My mum, she was my best friend. She was kind, funny.
On her street in southwest London. Impossible to keep their distance from each other.
Also worth mentioning from the figures.
448,000. The average for this time of year.
Rose Mitchell was a familiar Fandom.
To Rose.
At 81, she passed away in her care home after contracting coronavirus.
Have had underlying health conditions, and for the first time, these figures have been published showing a breakdown of the
Now get comfortable and take a deep breath through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And now that you are relaxed, feel yourself floating away into your deepest imagination, deeper and deeper.
Dear stranger, when you're young, it feels like there's no hope. I think the world slowly steals that from us. I'm in my room, safe, and sometimes I imagine myself dying. How do you describe the indescribable? I wonder if the virus would take me if I was to leave the safety of this flat. My life claimed too early, unfairly. Here I'm protected, but out there, how can I be sure? How can people be so fine with it? Why are they not afraid? And that's when I feel it. The beast inside me wakes up. My mind sinks into a black hole and I can't escape it. And I'm not ready. Dear Ava, I know it's hard right now, sitting there feeling completely hopeless. I know you feel like you can't take a day off from feeling this pain in your chest. You wish you could go to sleep and never wake up, but that's not how life works. Do yourself a favour and think of your favourite place and go there. Once you're there, listen to the sounds around you. Do you hear that? The waves moving. This is a reminder that life always goes on. One day you will sit in the same spot, feeling happy.
people and asked if it sounded okay, and they all agreed, and I just worked around it.
That's brilliant. That's the way to do it. And by the way, if anyone else wants to ask questions throughout this, feel free to just do so, just launch in. I thought your mum's acting was brilliant. Has she acted before?
Nope.
But she took to it like a duck to water. You must be really proud of her.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah. She's happy. She's happy.
Is she be watching the show tonight?
Yeah, she's next to me just now.
Hello, Mum.
Hello.
Yeah, I think there's an Oscar nomination in the post. Anybody else want to say anything to Caitie?
For the COVID situation being the way that it is, it was immensely impressive, like what you managed to pull off in the situation that you were in. Because I remember, like, me and you obviously talking about your final drama, and like, you totally pulled out the bag. Like, amazing job.
Thanks. I was very stressed.
Well, it doesn't show.
I'm glad.
You know, it's a very professional film. I mean, there's a reason why it went first. Right? I mean, the first stop is usually like there's one of the pole positions. Yeah, there's a couple of pole positions in any screening like this, and first is definitely there for a reason. Because you want to encourage people to stay. Think, oh, that was good. I'm going to watch the rest. So, well done.
Okay.
Hannah, is Hannah there? Oh, hello, Hannah.
Hello.
My partner wanted to ask, did you script your interview questions? Because it seemed very natural.
It was about a 2-hour conversation I just recorded, and then I edited it up.
2 hours?
It was a 2-hour Skype talk, yeah, that I'd done with the two Amanda and Laurel, yeah.
That's very impressive.
I had like everything I like wanted to go over like in front of me, but it was a really natural conversation because we got into massive tangents, you know, about random characters in the show and stuff like. But I did know what I wanted to talk about.
Have you been friends with them before?
No. They only started the podcast like last September, and I was like one of their first people to like talk to them. So I didn't know them before they set up the podcast, but I've been like a big part of their fan base.
The lesbians are coming to Halifax. I mean,
yeah,
that's a classic line, really.
I really loved that line. I had to keep it in.
Where did it come from?
Oh, I'm just very
all right. So it's
about it.
Emotional line for the Gentleman Jack Festival next year or something.
Yeah, it's been rescheduled to next year, obviously. So
right,
it's
that line is not part of it. That's just your line, is what I'm asking.
No, I just said something random. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm trying to let Vincent, but I'm not sure how to let him in.
I'll just let Vincent.
There you go. I think. Is that you and Vin?
Fergus, I've let Vincent.
You've done it. Okay, well done.
Yeah.
Right. Daniel. Are you there, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Right. There's a reason that you're not showing your face.
Yeah, there is. Let's... Sorry.
How easy was it directing your siblings? I mean, were they easy to direct? Or was it getting them to do multiple takes?
There was... depending on what time of day it was, it went smoother in parts than others. So the bit at the table was probably the hardest bit to film. As I mean, they're both doing drama at high school, but theatre drama and being filmed seems to be very, very different. So getting them to just manage to deliver their lines without looking directly into the phone camera or trailing off onto random gibberish was a bit difficult. But overall, it was not too bad. Most of it was filmed all in one day, apart from the reshoots that we had to do after
How much of it was improvised with your your brother?
Most of it was scripted. Sorry, we took the idea from a monologue that he wrote for his drama folio for the year, and then molded it around that. So a lot of the dialogue was written as he was saying it to me, and then we just carried on like that. So it's hopefully why it feels natural and not robotic. Hopefully.
I think you got good performances from him, especially your brother.
Yeah, they were both pretty good on that.
But your brother was really good. Like I say, if anybody else wants to sort of chip in, more than happy to hear from you. Jack, is Jack there? Where's Jack?
Jack's here. Hello.
Hello, Jack. Yeah, did you think about not putting your name in the credits, Jack?
If I didn't, I was possibly just thinking too much about everyone else, not thinking enough about me. I suppose.
Did you try and make contact with any of the anonymous artists, or was that something that you considered?
I did consider it, but certainly for the more public ones, I imagine like Daft Punk, for example, the big focus of it really. I was like, maybe I should try and get in contact with them, but at the same time, that would probably have taken a while because I would have to go through probably the company that owns the song as well and all that. Lots of legal stuff I didn't want to go through, and a lot of the graffiti artists, I didn't think they were going to come to it really, because if the whole point is wanting to remain anonymous, they're not going to want to be on a show about it, really. Possibly, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Finn, some nice camera work there.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's all right. Now, who was responsible for the actual framing of the shots? Was that you? Who was the camera operator? And
that was me.
You were the camera operator, but there's some handhelds as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, but I wasn't actually in the shot. I just used some sound effects to make it look like I was, or sound like I was.
But how did you? How were you able to frame yourself up?
I had a mirror, so I would put it behind the phone.
Nice.
Thank you. It was quite hard with the talons on, the alien claws, but I had a steady hand, so it worked out. By the way, can I just say about mine, I feel the people I showed it to, they haven't really understood it. So 2 points I want to say about mine. The reason he got sick, which was why he was tested upon in the end, was because his mask fell out the window when he went to go get the booze. So he caught it out the shop. And the other thing, was the gift tech bit. It was, and the Jesus picture with the UFOs in it was supposed to show the aliens had been there for a while and had been fighting the virus alongside the humans by testing on them. But he wanted to be a tester, which was why he got the unicycle. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, the problem is that everybody on the course knows the Jesus picture from a previous film.
Yeah, I thought I could recycle it. It's too good not to. That's Ozan.
Yes.
No other Jesus pictures with tattoos. So.
But there was a shot, wasn't there? A tracking in shot to the back of your chair, and I'm sure you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used an app on my phone, and it had a timer with the zoom, and also I had a pull focus, which I used on a timer as well. It took a few attempts, but I feel like it worked in the end.
Right, so it was a zoom. It wasn't a tracking in shot, a dolly in shot.
No, it was just a zoom on the back of my chair when at the desk. Yeah.
Really nice.
Thank you.
Is that something
else? Hope you understand it.
Craig, where did you get your subject from? How did you find him?
He is somewhat popular on Instagram.
And did you know him before though?
No.
You just decided this is the guy I want to make a film of. You got in touch with him and he said yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
When he was talking about steroids, did you?
Yeah.
just go with that, or did you question him about it?
Well, I mean, so originally I wanted to make a documentary on steroids. That was kind of the main focus, and then I sort of shifted it. But I mean, I asked him about it, and he was like, he was willing to talk about it and sort of shed some light on it, but he can't basically like directly say that he uses them because it damages his brand, and it damages because he is like he's a Scottish representative of CPC, which is like I think a European powerlifting federation. So he's a key figure in that, and he obviously he has positions that talking about using them could threaten. So he didn't want to talk directly about them, or to be seen as that like he was promoting them, but he wanted to shed some light, at least for me, on its prevalence in the sport.
Well, that's fair enough. The video of him at the start, was that a YouTube video that you just filmed? Or did you get permission?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because round about that, just immediately after your film, I'm not sure if it's the video or I'm not sure if it was the music, but Dom got a message from YouTube. What did it say, Dom?
It said, "We're about to kick you off for playing copyright material."
Was it for the video though, or was it for the music?
We don't know.
For the music.
Right. I would guess it was the music, because I asked the owner of the video if I could use it, and he said yes. So I would guess it's the music, because obviously While She Sleeps, somewhat big band. I mean, I would assume that YouTube recognizes them.
I would imagine these systems are automated.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a learning process for us as well. I mean, subsequent years, we're going to really have to clamp down on the use of copyrighted music if we have to do it this way again.
Yeah, I mean, I asked While She Sleeps as well, but obviously YouTube doesn't know that, and it's automated, like you said. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I'm just taking things. I'm asking people, but YouTube doesn't care because it's a bot that just scans the video and flags it.
Myself and Dom were like shitting bricks for the rest of the show after that, waiting for it to just cut out any point.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but I guess it didn't, so that's good.
They did not, so that's good, yes. So, Niall.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know about you, but I managed to see your film fine. It looked great on the big screen.
I think it might have been like the brightness might have been up or something beforehand, to be honest with you.
240 or something?
Sorry?
Were you watching it at 240 pixels or something?
No, I think it might have just been, I think the brightness might have been up, and then that lowered the image quality, to be honest. Because I downloaded the one that I uploaded, and it was a lot darker than that, but fair play.
Anyway, it looked fine. It looked grand. Did you think about eating the mouldy food?
I spoke to my mom. I was like, "Is anything going to happen if I put this in my mouth?" She was like, "I probably wouldn't now." So I decided to cut it short. But I think I would have for the cause.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been like it's because you could see. I was watching the Zoom feed, right, or the multiple screens as it was on, and people were like killing themselves laughing at that one bit. I was thinking, do it. I'd even seen the film before, but I still want you to do it.
Well, the thought was there for sure, but nah, I don't think so.
Have you seen Repulsion?
I've not seen Repulsion.
Oh, God, it's so similar in so many ways. You need to check it out.
I need to check it out. Well,
was it a time loop, Niall?
Was a time loop? What, yeah. The potatoes?
No, it was your film a time loop with the guys in black at the start who beat him up when he first came in, and then he beat him up at the end?
Nah, it wasn't. So it was like his nightmare was what actually happened, where the guy standing like I don't even know, like this, and then forward. But nah, it's not a time loop.
So the same guys beat him up that beat him up at the start.
That's a dream.
It's in the guise of a.
Oh, it's a dream. Sorry. Okay.
There we go. Right, I'm not quite Christopher Nolan yet. Maybe next film.
Also, one more thing: who did all the artwork?
That was like me and my family. Best thing ever. Plank a big bunch of A4 paper down and be like, "Let's draw some faces, guys," and then here we go.
Great. There's a question in the YouTube comments: who did your makeup? Because I thought the bruises looked great.
Biggest shock of the whole thing was the makeup. It was the thing that I forgot about till the day of shooting, and then it was like, oh, how do you do this? Picture of a bruise, some cheap makeup. On you go, mum. She's like wet, and then there we go, we got it. But no, it worked out well. It worked out well. Sorry?
So that was your mum putting your makeup on.
That was mum putting my makeup on. Yeah, it was.
That's the family that makes up together. Whatever, excellent. Well, she did an excellent job.
Oh, she was a great camera operator and on-set therapist as well. So, she did well.
No, honestly, I thought your acting was excellent. I think you did a really good job. Yeah,
thank you.
Not easy.
Someone,
acting yourself like that, especially in front of your mum, I would imagine.
Nah, not at all. But like the time constraints and just like I shot it really late, and I needed to have the time of day to be at the set right time to get the lighting right. It was like there was no time to sort of, I don't know, So we just went for it. It was all right.
Yeah, I thought then like the slow-mo dream stuff like worked really well. Like, and like the lighting was like really effective. Like,
class, thank you. That was, that's the
I
type.
thought it was also I thought it was also like a really tasteful representation of trauma. Like watching it for me, like I genuinely, it felt for a horror film, it felt really realistic. Honestly, you totally nailed the tone. Honestly, it was an amazing job.
Oh, right. Well, thank you so much. But what helped me get in that mindset was I asked a young Damien Swarbrick to send me some information on trauma and used in horror films, and he sent me some really useful stuff that, informed me for the shoot. So thank you.
But yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah, the drawings like hanging up before we actually saw them as well was like really like a nice stuff.
Right.
We didn't see them before, like, and then they were just like hanging on the covers or something. But that was like a nice touch.
I love that I'm watching a bunch of people who appreciate the fine details because it means the world, after it. So thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you.
I like the shot up through the glass coffee table between the bits of paper.
Oh yeah, oh god, that was a nightmare. God, but yeah, that's a small coffee table. My mum was fucking Spider-Man it down underneath it. We got it. So, thank you.
Sure. Liam, is Liam still here?
Yeah.
Where are you, Liam G? Oh, there you are. Right. Okay. How did you decide on the balance between, the TV villain and your own personal archive?
I just kind of like, if I'm honest, I kind of winged it based on like how I felt it was going to affect the tone of like the overall outcome. When it came to like the proper editing, like it was more just looking at the show and seeing like how can I put myself in that situation, and then if I felt it fitted, I just kind of put it in there and then adapted as I went.
Yeah. Anybody else got any questions? Because I feel like I'm dominating this.
I loved it. I loved your one, Liam. Honestly, I thought it was like really, really nicely done. Like the way you pop culture character and like put yourself in it. I thought it was really just like. I don't know.
I like that you chose the random as well.
It feels like something everyone feels when they watch like these superhero films. They feel like in a sort of way that like I don't know that they relate to this person, but it's like this like Hollywood person, and it just I don't know. It was like really honest. I thought. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'd probably say that as well. I'd love to thank you for being so open with all of us, because that must have took some ginormous King Kong balls to like put yourself out there like that. Like, so that just gave it a lot of heart, I thought. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, it was quite difficult to decide like what I actually put in and what didn't put in, because like when it came to editing, I was like, how much do I want to put this in and like share that with the world? So
no, it's brave, man. It was a good job.
It didn't feel ironic as well. Like I feel like my one's like really ironic because like I don't know. I liked it. Yeah.
Well done, Liam.
Thanks.
William, just a technical question first off. I mean, how did you sync up the playback?
How did we do what? Sorry.
How did you sync up the playback? How did the guys know what they were miming to?
For that one, it was simple. We just sort of like had one of them playing the song on his phone while we were filming. So the two of them were just kind of like singing along.
Okay. So, but there were no syncing problems later on in the edit.
Not really. There was one bit that was a little tough during the sort of like crane shot, just because I couldn't see their mouths very well. So there was an element of guesswork to that one and trying to like listen to the camera audio of like, can I hear what words they're saying from here?
Did you have any issues, or were you worried about the I don't know, the racial makeup involved in casting?
What do you mean?
The fact that like most of your other actors, apart from your singers, most of the other actors were white, weren't they?
I mean, honestly, the issue never came up. That's probably the first time I've heard it mentioned.
No, I'm
Just
not.
like,
I wonder if you discussed it at all, or if it was something that you just,
not really. When we were coming up with plans for like what they wanted from the actors and costumes, etc., they were basically just like, we want to be wearing black. We want everyone else to be wearing white. Because, I don't know, they wanted to subvert that, like, traditional, what do you call it, like, symbolism of, you know, white being, like, holy goodness and, you know, because there's a lot of Christian undertones to the song, because Danny, the main artist, like, does a lot of, like, gospel kind of stuff.
Anybody else want to ask anything?
Well, the tracking shot at the end was like really nicely done. Like the tracking shot and it craned up to him.
Yeah, that one was like completely unplanned. Originally, the final shot was going to be like a completely different area, but me and Liam were just like walking around that bit anyway, and we're just like, you know what, that is a very good view. Shall we just take a couple shots and see how it looks? And the absolute master class cameraman Liam is. He got it perfect.
Love you too, buddy. Thank you.
Conall, how did the discussions with your subject go around the elephant in the room, as the phrase went? I mean, who came up with that phrase?
That was Kate, just on the fly. Like, Kate is like, one thing that's really useful about her is that she interviews really well. Just the way that she talks is just so interesting to listen to. In my opinion, obviously I'm biased. But yeah, she just sort of said it, and I was like, I mean, if she's okay with saying it, then I was okay with like putting it out there, because
then you didn't discuss it in advance of it just happening up in the interview.
Pretty much. I mean, we built sort of a framework of what we wanted the film to be, and sort of we had like these sort of key points that Kate wanted to mention, and the transgender element of it was important to her, especially considering the transgender boxers have a really hard time actually getting into the sport and like being successful. And so we had like key points through the conversation that we wanted to have, but she just kind of went off on it. And I edited over an hour of interview footage pretty much. So I kind of had to chop everything up and like create sentences and things like that. But yeah, no, she just naturally went off, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, was there a reason that you didn't have any sort of natural sound breaks? Because it just seemed to me, watching it, that I want to hear like the battering of the punch bag or the clanking of the iron or all the sounds of the gym, and it seemed to be like music most of the way through. Was that an audio decision, recording decision, or what?
It was kind of a mix of things. If I'm being honest, on the days that we shot, they were really busy and the sound wasn't great. Like, being in that room, it sounded unpleasant because there were chains squeaking, and because all of the bags are hung up on these like metal rafters, and they were just shaking the whole ceiling, and so it was like there was sound, and I think it would have been unpleasant to listen to. But at the same time, both of my shoot days were incredibly stressful. They both just totally went wrong. It was nobody's fault that they did. It just kind of that like unplanned obstacles were there. And so when it came to sound, we sort of decided, you know, maybe we shouldn't, because we only brought me, Kate, a camera person, and Jack. With the camera person being Liam, who did like 50% of the camera work, and then I did the other half. But having that group already, it was already cramped, and I don't think we could have afforded to bring a sound person because we just didn't have the room for them. So the only other option we had was a road mic, and we just kind of went, yeah, maybe we should just leave it, because by the time that we were thinking about sound, we'd been there for like 3 hours already, and the place was shutting. So yeah, it was just kind of something that we didn't manage to get, unfortunately.
Good job, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, Conall's not here, I don't think, nor Katrina, nor Luke, nor Nancy. So that's 4 people I'm just going to skip over.
I'm going to open voting for 1 more minute, guys, if you haven't voted yet.
Oh, you can vote for 1 more minute. If you want to go ahead and do that now, I would suggest you do that.
What was the name of Roy's one? Because I've forgotten the name.
Double time.
Double time, right? Cool.
Who are
Guess
you
what my
voting for,
vote is.
Craig?
Yeah, I know. Guess what? Sure.
A question from the audience. Apparently, you're a Rangers fan. Why did you do a film on Hearts?
It was more local to the Edinburgh area. I liked the story of it, and yeah, I was just kind of went with that.
I mean, I just wondered, Damien, did you know he's a Rangers fan, or did you just see the scarf around the back of his head?
No, I knew he was a Rangers fan. I always knew there was something wrong with him.
And what are you, a Hibs fan?
No, I'm a Man United fan. I hate Scottish football.
That makes it even worse. Man United.
Apparently, a newspaper wrote about your film. Is that right?
Yeah. I can't remember when it was released or not. But the journalist who I interviewed, he said about doing a article about it.
Okay. Did you know him beforehand, or?
No. I emailed him. I emailed a few journalists just asking for interviews and to ask obviously about their experiences with the fans. And I was almost ready to change project because I hadn't had any feedback from them. I hadn't had any replies, and it was just by luck that he replied, and that's where it went from.
Oh, good stuff. Roy, I really enjoyed your film. When Tomo leaves, right, finds him in the field, and then he leaves after having pocketed the card. Was that a refusal of the call? You're muted, Roy.
There we go. Right, yeah, the card. That was like an accident. I found that card in like originally I was going to do like the bit at the end when they're like flipping out on the alcohol and stuff. Like they spill these cards or something, and he picks up a Joker card or some stupid thing like that. And then I found this card had like the same thing on each side, and I was like, suppose it could work. I don't know. Then last minute when I was shooting that thing in the field with my sister, she was like, because that's her hand putting it in the pocket. That's me shooting that. So yeah, that was a last minute thing. In the edit, I was like, I can't just have him walk away. Don't know. It's went through like so many different like things. This thing.
You know what the refusal of the call is. You know.
That's I originally had him going back home because it's like this. But it's so strange. If you found a dead body in a field, you obviously would not drag him home or whatever. But
that's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, I just accepted the fact that like he's going to drag him home, so he might as well leave and come back. You saw the original, like the thing I submitted first. Like I can't really remember what happened, but he didn't see the body outside the window. Then he goes back. But anyway, it wasn't supposed to be like how it is just now. It's supposed to be like this home invasion thing, where I wanted to make it like this really abstract, like Roman Polanski thing, where like it's all in his mind or whatever. But I was like, it's just so boring. Like no one wants to see this. So I thought I could make the guy an actual character who comes alive and like, and they don't mention the fact that they look the same, because I was like, I can't be bothered like getting into this because I'm like already over the time limit. So
I thought it was very. I mean, from the moment I read the script, I thought it was very surreal, very sort of Louis Buñuel type.
Originally, that's what I wanted to do, but
evolved into something totally different.
the only thing that survives from the Buñuel thing is like the photo of the woman that you see, the girlfriend. That's like from the box set. Like, that's not like my girlfriend. I thought like she's, yeah, that's the only thing that survives from that, I think. And that's my sister. That's my sister's voice in the thing. It's so weird getting my sister to like play my girlfriend. It's like so weird. But anyway, enough of that.
Where did the character of Mickey come from? Because it's so unlike anything.
Strangely, Liam mentioned Hunter S. Thompson and like Begbie and that, because I was like, I think I'm going to do a Hunter S. Thompson, Begbie, like Groucho Marx thing here, and like just try and just ham it up as much as I can. And I can't believe you like found that and like just by watching it. I mean, not telling them, but yeah, like it took a lot for me to like get to that point where I was like, I just need to do something with this, and like I need to ham it up big time, and like just. I think the way I done it was just like filled myself with like all these props and that. Like I got the cigarettes, which I don't smoke, and I never want to smoke another cigarette in my life because I'm like I hate cigarettes now. And yeah, I got the hip flask, the hat, the glasses, and all that, just to like so I don't look like myself. I guess I don't know. But yeah, I filled myself with all these props, and it made it easier to act, I think. And the fact that like I was just doing it myself, like my sister helped me out, but she was not there when I was doing like all the dialogue stuff. So yeah, I had a script, but I was like, don't know, it's difficult to write a script for this sort of character because he's so sort of.
I mean, I thought the hallucination there, the tripping scene was.
Yeah, that came at the end as well. That was like a last minute thing because I was editing this like the other night at like stupid o'clock, and I was like, I need to find a way to finish this thing like that's not completely boring. So I was like, I'll add all these like effects in Premiere, and then yeah, I've been shooting this thing for a long time as well. Like it's went through a lot of different versions, and that. I'm probably waffling now because I've had too much gin. But, yeah.
We'll move on.
Loved it, Roy, man. Absolutely loved it.
There you go.
Thank you. And I use copyright music, by the way. Like there's a bit of Led Zeppelin in there, so.
We noticed that. You use
yeah.
Copyright music.
Spelled the name wrong and then the credits as well, but never mind.
Hendrix as well, I noticed.
Yeah, a bit of Jimi Hendrix as well. Yeah.
Well done. Liam.
Yo.
How did you do those eyes?
How did I do the eyes? I sort of toyed with an idea and I ended up having to use a mask on the eyes. And then when it came to the mask, I had to cut a hole into them so that you could see the whites of the eye, so it looked like an actual.
Mask? You mean like in After Effects or something?
Yeah. So in After Effects, I just took that shot into there and did that, and then linked it into Premiere Pro. It took a while because the other thing that I had to do was take a photo of something in the opposite direction and then put it as a reflection in the eye. So yeah, it was quite a bit of work because I didn't know how to do it, but I just looked up guides on YouTube on how to achieve that look. That was about it, yeah.
And I mean, the Shawshank Row, or whatever you called it, right?
Yeah.
The animals have you got?
At this point, it's like Dr. Dolittle in our house. There's 3 chinchillas, 2 degus, and 3 guinea pigs, and a hamster. Yeah. Quite a few.
Anybody else want to say anything about Liam?
I liked it, Liam. I thought it was good.
Oh, cheers, man.
Yeah, interested. So there's quite a lot of shots with you in it. Who was doing your camera while?
I pretty much did the same thing that Finn did. I set up my camera and composed it. I mean, I was quite fortunate for a few years to be doing like photography and stuff. So I had to do self-portrait work for my other course that I did. So I'm kind of used to setting up my camera and knowing the focus depth. But I had a what do you call it on the floor, sort of little bits of tape just so I could hit my marks and whatnot. But the bits like the slider, Sarah, I just showed my partner Sarah how to use the slider, like the bit on the stairs, and she used it twice and got the shot in 2 shots.
Yeah, it was the slider part that was like one. That's
It was impressive. It was impressive because getting smooth slider work is, I mean, it's tough to do. So she just went, how do I do it like this? And then just got it perfect like the first couple of times. I was like, bitch. Relief you got it.
The lighting as well was good. Like in that shot, I think the lighting worked out really nicely.
Well, I was trying to work out a way of doing that, and I was going to use gels and an LED, and then I realized I have a light that you can change on an app on your phone to a red color. So I just changed it to a red color.
And the weird angle, like it slid in this weird angle with that red light. I thought it was just like the perfect way to do it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
So how did you get your like initial idea for it then?
I was going to do the comedy, obviously, originally. And I think I was just watching Supernatural, and then I was watching Conjuring 2 later on that night. So I composed my own music for that one. Because I've been messing around on like a little keyboard thing that I bought and trying to make my own music for films. And that sort of demonic monk drone noise, I started playing around with that, and then that's where I got the idea to do like a demon monk that possesses the house sort of thing, and then me, obviously. But yeah, it just popped in there, I guess.
Did you make the prop yourself?
What's that, sorry?
Did you make the prop yourself?
Yeah, so Sarah was the one in the monk costume, and she was wearing that, and I was like, I need cloth or something that I can use. And she went, just cut a bit off the monk costume. So we cut a bit off. You can't see it at the very back, but on the very back of that monk costume is like a big hole where I've just cut it off, wrapped a bunch of the rodent's hay inside, and then just used a bunch of hair ties. But I thought it ended up looking quite creepy, so I thought it looked well.
Well done.
Thank you.
Saul, what were the chains about? Where did the chains come from?
Well, they kind of just came from, like I said in the thing, I've been interested in them my whole life, and like they're very historic, and that's part of me as a person. I'm very interested in history and that, so they're so yeah, that's why I wanted to have them in as a factor of history.
You seem to be a bit different from the stuff you were talking about previously. I was trying to see the connection.
But it was more just to show a area of interests rather than having a connection to everything. That's kind of what I wanted.
Anybody else want to ask Saul anything? Say this up.
I'll ask you a question, Saul.
All right.
Like, how was that interviewing with like the people? Like, did you have like set questions, or did you just like improvise the questions for them?
Well, I had set questions, and I did. I just said like at the time, try and include it in the answer that you're saying, and that was really it. It was scripted, but I don't really know. It was scripted. That's the whole point.
I don't know why you hated it so much, Saul. I thought like you had loads of heart in that. I thought it showed across that. Because obviously we all know each other quite well, and we know that, you're not the most open person in terms of wanting to be open with everyone. But I think that was great to see, like a side of you that most of us don't get to see. So I thought it was really, really cool that you opened up a bit and shared that with us. That's kind of cool.
Well, it's just one of those common things with, or at least for me with work, I just end up growing to hate it.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I don't know, it's probably like, I don't think it's that great, and it's like, oh, this is so crap, I just want to like not have this be something I made and just forget about it.
I think that's every single one of us, man. But no, yeah, I think you should be proud of that. There was a lot of heart in that. That was a great job.
Oh, well done, Saul.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a question for Saul. Did you find anything that surprised you about your interviewees? Because I know they're all classmates, but was there anything that you was?
Well, a lot of what they said is like I kind of already knew, but I didn't know a lot of the details or like how far the details went in with what they liked, and it was quite interesting to hear when I was recording it.
Also, that's a pretty strong pop game you've got going on there. Was Niall jealous?
What? No, what you mean there?
Yeah.
No, Niall's probably got way more than me.
I've got a few pops, just a wee few. But your pop game is strong, Saul. I know some people that are watching this right now that are like frothing at the mouth with that pop collection in the background.
It's even up there. Okay, there's about 3 rows of like 6 back there, or something. I think it's like 57. I think.
Fuck yeah.
Cheers, Saul. Vince,
Hi.
I loved your drawings. I thought your
Thank
drawings
you.
were beautiful. I mean, how did you do? Well, were they digital?
Yeah,
Did you do them on an iPad or something?
on Photoshop on my laptop.
They were great.
Thank you.
When you had the neutral background, the sort of cloth backdrop behind your interviews, what was
Yeah.
the rationale behind that?
Well, I was filming in the green room because I planned to film in the rooms, like the houses of my interviewees, but a lot of people like weren't comfortable being filmed in their houses. So I thought it'd be a good idea to tie it all together with like one background, really.
Uh-huh. I mean, I thought it had the sort of, I don't know if it was intentional. I thought it was a good way of isolating your subjects' heads and their hair.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was trying to do.
Main intention of something else.
Yeah, I mean, I would have actually preferred to film like when I was planning the film, I was planning on like focusing on like the interviewee's living space as well, but obviously like I wasn't able to do that. So I think like that like did kind of play into the fact like because I didn't want to use like the green of the green screen because it just wouldn't look very good. But then I forgot to iron the piece of fabric, so it looks a bit weird. But yeah.
The choice of subjects. I mean, they seem to be. I don't know who are they? Are they all related, or is it just coincidence? They seem quite. They look similar.
Yeah, I was planning on having like people with different skin colors, like people who are dark skin and people with like lighter skin. But it turned out that like Kate's mum, for example, I didn't know like I didn't know if she was like dark skin or what because I'd never met her before. But and like I was planning on using other interviews, but they couldn't make it. So it kind of became from just being about like different types of black hair to like being mixed race as an identity, which I didn't plan for, but I think it turned out quite nicely.
What's the connection with you guys and Fred then?
What do you mean?
I thought did you guys know each other before you were in the same class?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope.
This one.
Vince, I thought it was really great that you interviewed Kate and her mum at the same time, their relationship. Like, it was really nice seeing it on screen.
Thank you.
Nicole is the best person ever. Honestly, she's amazing.
I thought that's what made the video, like their chemistry together. That was like the best thing. Like they worked off each other nicely.
Absolutely loved the animation. It was phenomenal. I thought it just tied it in like nicely with the little cute sort of animations every now and then. I thought that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Excellent. And finally, Angie. Hi, Angie.
Hey.
I want to know, how did you do that opening shot, the overhead shot?
With a tripod.
Because all right, so but I didn't see the tripod. Was it suspended or were you holding it or what?
No, one of my flatmates, it's quite tall, so I just asked him to hold the tripod quite high, and then when we reached to her face, I just focused on her eyes. It took like 10 frames to make that happen, but it worked.
10 takes.
Yeah, 10 takes, yeah.
Well, that was a gorgeous opening shot. That was really good.
Thank you.
Similar sort of question that Liam was talking about. Did you have coloured gels, or how did you get the blue lighting on your actress's face, and how did you get the lighting on the walls?
So just with what I had, I do have some lights that have a controller that have different colors. But like during the night, it's like it was horrible. You could see the stripes and everything, so I couldn't use them. So from the TV and like from lamps and stuff, or like clothes that could bounce off and make like blue or orangey kind of atmosphere. Yeah.
Anybody else want to say anything to Angie?
I really like the trippy sort of sequences between, like when she was morphing in with that beast inside her. I think she said. I love the like sort of transitions between them, and then that shot where there's the person behind them with the hands as well as them doing that. I just love that little sort of juxtaposition. That was great.
So hard to get my fingers behind her and then kind of like a ninja.
That looked great though. I really love those bits.
But yeah, I think all of us made. I really liked everything. Like so many varieties and different type of films, and everyone had small creative parts in them. So yeah, good job to everyone. Yeah, it's great.
Was your actor, the main actress, was she your flatmate or who's
yeah, yeah. It's the sister of my flatmate. She stayed here for a month with us. Because originally I was going to be the one acting and then my flatmate would film me. It worked out better because I had the control of everything, and then she was very good to work with, and yeah, I was quite lucky on that.
Yeah. I think you did an excellent job. Well done.
Thank you.
And that's everybody.
So you should have a message on chat, Fergus, if you want to read out the winner of the audience award. We have third place, second place, and first place.
I think you should read it out.
You want me to read it out?
Yes, please.
Right. Okay. So the top three voted by 34 people altogether. And third place comes Double Time by Roy.
Thank you.
Hey.
I got that.
Well
So,
done, Roy.
Go on, Roy.
All right. Thank you very much. My cat as well. Shout out to my cat.
In second place is The Other Side by Liam Gillespie.
Hey.
Good
job, my boy.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
And first place in the 2020 Edinburgh College, Milton Road campus, HND2, Tartan Quarantino screening. This year's champion in 2020 is Night Terror by Niall Gavigan.
Yeah, my boy.
By far the best one.
Good job, buddy.
Niall Gavigan. They go.
Okay, speech, Niall.
Absolutely. Come on, speech.
Please.
Speech.
Shout out to the mum for everything. Shout out to Ollie for Safe. And shout out to fucking Roy Bussel for that film before, honestly. That one, but yeah, no, thank you. Really fun doing this, and it was a pleasure spending the past 2 years with you guys and all the lectures as well. It was lovely. Thought this was the time for it, so there you go. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Niall's going to be hot shit in the future, man. You watch this space. Absolutely believe in him.
Thank you, Liam. Star.
Can I just point out that I thought like the overall quality this year was excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's very rare that you get to watch a show and like every single one has got something going for it. It was a really high standard this year. I'm sure the other lecturers would agree with it, wouldn't you?
100%. There's been some difficult times recently with COVID-19, and some of the work you guys have done this year has been amazing. Like, really well done.
I mean, yeah, that COVID-19 thing is the main thing that amazes me. I mean, when I think with the dramas, like what we asked you to do in such a short turnaround, I'm so impressed the way that you were able to do that. And yeah, not just the speed of it, but the fact that you were shooting yourselves, like without a crew, without professional equipment. It was awesome. So well done.
Give us that beard as well, man. It's absolutely amazing.
What beard?
That is a glorious beard.
Aye, Beard Wars. Stick around after the Super Beard Wars.
I've lost already, mate.
Jules, you're on mute.
Sorry, I've been chatting away, obviously, just muted.
Never
mind. Never mind. Yeah, I loved them. Oh, really, I've really enjoyed it this evening. It's been great. Absolutely fab.
Because normally Jules goes home halfway through the show, so I mean, luckily you.
That is not true. That is not true. But I do normally hide up the back. Yeah.
Dominic, what did you think of the evening? Dominic, you're also on mute. We can't hear anything. He's got his headphones off. Ah, right. Okay. Dominic thought you were rubbish. Right, so didn't worry about it though.
How did Dom for editing though? The editing of like the whole thing. Like the whole
again?
The editing that Dom done was like really nice.
I just want to say, Dom, that's an amazing job on the edit, by the way.
Yeah.
It looks great.
I think Dom's putting a power of work on this show. I just want you guys to know that. And, much appreciated.
Yeah, cheers, Dom.
Is
he warning us that we're on YouTube and we're still live? And he's saying, watch what you're saying.
Are you telling us that's time to call it quits, Dom? Yeah, I think it probably is. I'm not going to end the meeting, but he can't hear anything. He can't hear it. Okay. I'm not going to end the meeting, but well done, guys. If you want to hang around, chat to each other, you're more than welcome. Well done, everybody.
Well done.